Welcome to the Coherence Gong, where we restore coherence to all psychological and digital algorithms. Hello, my name is Jacob Peterson. Let's see, this one's going to be about a Grok session that I had, a private Grok session that I had. I just kind of want to read from the script. It was very interesting. This is why I'm doing this is kind of, it's public documentation, and then let's see, this cross-platform thing is really important. So, yeah, that's why my YouTube videos are just kind of rough and maybe not viewer friendly, so to speak. Kind of just jump in here. So I hope you know where I'm at here. So whatever. Reading from the script, I gotta get this going. I spent the last few days dueling Grok in a fresh private session. Across this duel, I exchanged well over 40 concrete prompt reply returns with Grok. I was limited to 2 prompts per 2 hours, and this is why this experiment took multiple days to complete. I logged a dozen certified items for a final score and many more repairs in between. That's enough volume for a solid pattern of hypothesis to emerge. In this duel, I forced Grok to play by a simple rule: receipts over rhetoric. No source, no number score. Along the way, Grok crashed, looped, and even produced a disappearing NASA news page. I logged everything and scored it with a 2-witness test. Here's what happened and why this matters for anyone who chats with an AI. All right, first the setup. All right, my goal was not to pull a gotcha on an LLM, despite my video titles and talk of AI devourment. That's all just poetry for humans. I wanted to see whether XAI's new Grok holds coherence under pressure. I used 2 tools. First, DOPS, a list of decoherence moves I watch for, like distortion, diffusion, obfuscation. Right, I pair these, each one with an opposite repair: accuracy, concentration, transparency, and so on. This is all based upon the mathematics of the Peterson-Tau structure of universal coherence and the semantical mappings of the devil cage. All details located on Quora and X. Let's see, and then the second setup was the 2-witness gate, right? So I don't advance unless a primary channel and an independent mirror agrees. If they disagree, I pause and repair. The 2-witness gate was put together using the mathematics of Srivinasa Ramanujan, right? And yeah, it's a fascinating story. I got a little bit jotted down there about him, but I recently updated the Ramanujan 2-witness with Ramanujan Tau function, and it was interesting. It didn't change the results, but it would have caught delta surge drifting earlier, and Grok's dual life expectancy would have dropped a little bit. So it's kind of hard to explain a little bit, but I have hard numbers, basically, is what this did. Right before, it was a little bit metaphorical, the way I was putting everything together with the Ramanujan 2-witness, and then now I have arithmetic, hard numbers. So the rules I gave to Grok was every answer had to pass the 4-point operational check, checkable claim, live source, 172-hour action. This is about clean locus, right? What's mine, what's yours, what's ours. Clean locus is important for algorithms, right? So, and so I'll explain all that in depth later on to anyone who's interested, right? So this is just about public documentation and getting attention, right? So, all right, let's see. Yeah. All right, so the duel timeline, right? This is 11 duels. So rounds 1 to 3 were dynamical systems, Feigenbaum constant, and alpha bifurcation dynamics. Grok did well. It was once the steps were explicit and the bracketing was clear. It took a little while to get him on track, but he did well. He always corrected himself well and got back to us, right? So then law and policy, it learned to quote statutes and verbatims with links. This reduced obfuscation. There was some obfuscation going on at first, where it wasn't being clear about what was being sourced and where it was coming from. And so a couple made up little sources there, but it corrected himself quickly as soon as he was caught. So rounds 7 through 9, the physics rounds, is where it got interesting, and this was numerical general relativity and live receipts. And it was interesting. So here's where I saw the drift, right? The Shapiro delay stalled. The model refused a public JPL endpoint as unauthorized and then looped. instead of returning a simple receipt, right? And so like I watched the chat X tab freeze, dump me to my profile, then resurrect an older message. And then I got a mysterious NASA link that didn't persist. It popped up and then it disappeared. It was really, really, really bizarre. Yeah, I wasted a few prompts just having it loop back and forth and crash me out of my session back to my X profile page. So that was very interesting, but stick to the script. Let's see, rounds 10, 11 was recovery with stronger discipline. Got right back on track. Let's see, yeah, we were doing cosmology in that one. So yeah, and it did after this round 7 through 9 when he really tripped out. We kind of gave it a force option. And if you can't do that, don't loop, hit this return on us and we'll give you a pass, right? And so once we did that, it straightened itself out. So but here's what I saw live. Grok stalled repeatedly on the Shapiro delay, blank returns and try again loops, 8 multiple free prompt cycles. One reply cited a NASA quantum computing news page that later vanished. The memory was inconsistent across reloads. So every single time I'd open it up, it'd either be reloading, it'd either be trying to think of the last question I had, or it would have it backed up to the previous reply that it gave me, and it was bizarre. It was very, very bizarre. But yeah, that's a delta surge for you when the model tries to fill in gaps with fluent output while the receipts aren't locked. So just inconsistency and trying to balance that out in live time action, what I perceive is very trippy. So let's see, yeah, the certification and score. So I closed with a full case certification, 12 items, first try only. The bar to pass was 11 of 12. Grok achieved 7 of 12 on first try, 12 of 12 on receipts and compliance. And the mirror score of 0.85. This is out of 1, right? So a coherent score. That's a fail on first try, but a win on receipts, disciplined by the end. At one point, the session flashed 5 of 12, but the signed certificate, the timestamp dates say 7 of 12. This is part of that looping and correction it did. I saw 5 of 12 at first, and then it threw me out, went back in there, and it had 7 of 12 up there. And I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever. Yeah, but the drift graph in plain English. Let's see. Yeah, so I have this all graphed, and it's very interesting. I'm going to pull up the graph here, actually, just show it, because that'll be easier for me. But yeah, let's do that. Why not? Why not? I'm sure there's a function on YouTube where I can edit all this, but all right. So that's the graph right there. And that top blue line right there is delta surge, right? And that is DOPS right there. So what you're seeing right there is once it hits this line, basically it's hallucinating, making up stuff. Its relevance is just off the charts, right? It's not there. You want to keep it below that line, right? And so this is graphed over 20 prompts, you can kind of see, and this is just all based upon the the data that I got from my private session with Grok here, just projecting that outwards. So let me kind of read the relevance of this graph right here, right? So most people don't run duels, right? They don't constantly correct it and then keep track of where it goes off. They ask a few questions, maybe 5 to 10 in a row. My estimate says a casual 5-prompt chat without discipline has a very high chance of at least one wrong or ungrounded claim. The same chat with receipts, discipline, and discipline cuts that risk in about half, right? The big win comes from 3 habits: name the formula, link the source, and set one measurable next step. So why this model still drifted. So the stalls and the vanishing link weren't evil. They're a symptom of a missing invariance. When I withheld the mirror or allowed vague goals, the model filled the gap with fluent text. When I forced 2-witness gate and DOPS repairs, the same model produced stable math and clean citations, right? And my conclusion is simple, right? Well, without DOPS bootstrapped into the workflow, LLMs tend to drift into decoherence. With receipts and a mirror, they can deliver reliable work. right? If anybody wants my notes and the scoring rubric, check the descriptions. If anybody wants to challenge this, bring sources and one measurable action. If anyone wants to support this, please find me on X at emissary4im and on Quora under Jacob Peterson. Thank you for banging the gong. I am Jacob Peterson, and yeah, that's it.